Hello and welcome back to Scripture Revisited. Today's topic has no need for statistics, for it is a disease that everyone has suffered from. At one point, we contracted this disease. It is highly contagious, and many have still gone undiagnosed. Many will go years without ever noticing the disease of procrastination. I've titled this episode Patiently Procrastinating, two terms that kind of just butt heads with one another because procrastination by itself is not a term that we welcome, but we exercise it all the time. Patience is a term we welcome, but we don't exercise it at all. Procrastination is the sabotage of self, the destruction of discipline, the abandonment of aspirations. By definition, procrastination is to delay, to postpone a task. I believe it is William James that said there is nothing more exhausting than the hanging of an unfinished task. I'm paraphrasing it to the best of my recollection, but it went like that. There is nothing more draining knowing that there are things to be done. I'm trying to fall asleep and I can't. Why? Because my mind has all of these open windows. I'm trying to sleep in warmth, but my mind has these open windows letting out the warm air, replacing with the cold air. The open windows in our lives are anything that we start and do not finish, for we cannot be insulated by things left undone. To approach this from a scriptural point of view, I would like to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. He who watches the wind will not sow, and he who looks at the clouds will not reap. In other words, if we're waiting for the perfect conditions to start, we never will. But we hear it all the time. Well, I'll start on Monday. I'm just waiting for this and that. No. This is really good advice and input. I'm going to start changing my life next week. Look, I believe that there are seasons of waiting. I'm not putting that aside. But one question I want you to ask yourself is, what good is waiting if nothing was sown? We wait to reap, not sow. We wait to harvest. We don't wait to plant. We wait to see results. But why do we wait to begin? Why would I postpone the possible? Why would I postpone the potential? So many things that can be done, but won't. Why? Because I delay them. I say, I'll do it later. I'm still waiting. Waiting not for the results, waiting to place the first brick of this house. And I am patiently procrastinating. I find it very interesting how we only procrastinate when we are trying to improve our lives. Look at that. When it comes to something fun or exciting, I mean, no one's like, well, I really got to put off this Six Flags trip with my friends because I'm just not looking forward to it. Or you guys are having a beach day. Well, can we actually just do it later? Can we get to the beach not at 7 a.m., but 7 p.m.? But when it comes to a whole day of tasks, schoolwork, assignments, essays I have to write, instead of saying, well, I'll start at 7 a.m., we say, I'm going to start at 7 p.m. We only push things away when they're trying to improve our lives in the sense of responsibility. No one delays reels, we delay responsibilities. No one delays TikTok, but we delay tasks. We have this mindset, and what I think what allows us to procrastinate so fluently is this fallen mindset. That we think we're just pushing everything down the road, down the timeline. Look, I'm just readjusting my schedule. I'm shifting my responsibilities. In reality, we're just piling everything up into the sink. That when we reach the point that the sink is overflowing with all these dishes and the gunk, obviously we have that thought, man, Had I washed each plate when I was done with it, I would not have this problem right now. Had I done that assignment when I had that free 2 hours in the morning, I would not be looking at it right now at 1 in the morning. Had I changed my tire last week, I would not be driving on a flat right now. You know those times where we're driving back after a youth night or from someone's house and it's late at night and we know that we have somewhere important to be early in the morning and we're looking at our gas and we see that it's almost on empty and we say, I'll just get gas in the morning. We get home late, we go into bed, we wake up late and we're like, well, I got to take a shower and I still got to get dressed and get ready, and we're getting ready and we're already running late. And as we grab our keys going out the door, we're like, are you serious? I'm already 20 minutes late and I still need to fuel up. That's what procrastination does. It doesn't rearrange anything. It just piles up everything into the corner that inevitably we will have to deal with sooner or later. We all have deadlines to meet. We all have had homework to do, essays to write, projects to finish. So how do we combat procrastination? I believe that preparation paves the way to stop procrastination. I'll say that one more time. Preparation paves the way to stop procrastination, but it doesn't get you to walk. You know, we have the foundation laid out, okay? I see everything that I need to get done. I've made a to-do list. I have prepared the list. I have organized the schedule. But it doesn't get me to actually fulfill it. Why? It sets everything up. You know, I have the shoes that I put on. I have the route I'm ready to run. I have the glasses to keep my eyes safe. I have the water bottle to keep me hydrated. But just because I'm equipped doesn't mean that I ran the marathon. So how do I start? Purpose. Purpose is the answer to procrastination. I've heard a beautiful quote, and unfortunately, I don't know who to credit it to, but it went something like this: you're bored because your goals are too small. To the Christian, our goal is the will of God, Christ likeness. And my friend, that is no small feat. That is no small goal, to be like Jesus Christ. So why are we wandering around through life aimlessly, welcoming distraction, promoting avoidance, exercising procrastination? Because quite frankly, the harsh truth is that we have no drive, no discipline, and I don't want to say no purpose, so I will put it lightly, just the ignorance of not realizing our purpose. This is a result of not taking Jesus Christ seriously. We wake up and we go about our days, pushing away everything that is important, piling it up for another day, another day, another day. And these days of nothing consume us. All of our time thrown away, never to be brought back. I would like to read what Paul warns us against and then encourages us towards in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16. Therefore, look carefully how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise. And verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Look, guys, time matters. Time matters because time is the stuff of which days are made. You know, we look back at our lives and we're like, well, that year was good. That year was good. That month was okay. That week was all right. That day was quite bad. Why? Because we have to break everything down into time, the individual unit of measurement, a second, a millisecond, a nanosecond. This is the substance that makes up our lives. Look, the eternal destination is determined by time. This decision must be made in time, literally in the time that we have and in time before it runs out. Moments Like right now, where we are listening to this podcast, where we are listening to our friend, where we are speaking to someone, we're praying. These are the moments which influence eternity. The more scarce something is, the more valuable it is. If we saw chunks of gold and diamonds all over the road, they would not be valuable. The more scarce something is, the more valuable it is. Time would be worthless if we never die. It's interesting how we say to ourselves when we're recalling childhood memories, well, I remember when I was 7 years old and I first learned how to ride my bike and I fell on my head, but luckily I was wearing a helmet. And then I remember another time when I was 5 years old and it was just, I barely remember it, but at the same time so vividly, where I was going through this park and my mom was carrying me and my dad was laughing. And we think to ourselves, man, that's cool how I can remember that from all those years ago, but on the grand scheme of things, that was not that long ago. Look, a decade is only 120 months. A decade, a astronomical unit of measurement. But when we change it up slightly, look at it from a different approach, 120 months is not very long. As long as we think our lives are realistically, they're very short. And to add even more to this pile, our very short lives have an uncertain death date, an expiration date. We do not know when will be our last day, our last minute. So why are we so negligent pushing everything off to tomorrow when tomorrow may not even exist for us? Look, guys, I believe that time cannot be reversed, but time can be redeemed. Time cannot be reversed, but time can be redeemed. How, though? I'm all for it. I want to redeem my time after how much I've thrown away all those years in that bad habit, all those months in that video game, all those years in that friendship, all those years in that relationship. How do I redeem the time that I have now? Well, we keep reading. Verse 17 tells us, on account of this, on account of redeeming the time because the days are evil, on account of this, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. In other words, do not be aimless, but know your purpose. The one who knows his destination doesn't wait to get going, he waits to arrive. Oftentimes when we go snowboarding and it's a large group of us, we always want to go to a restaurant afterwards or a diner, somewhere to eat. And we're all kind of just waiting in our cars until someone sends the address. Once we have the address, we have the destination, we put it into the GPS, we start driving. Why? Because we have the goal in mind. We have the purpose in place. Our purpose to the Christian is Christ likeness, sanctification. This is the will of God for your lives, your sanctification. This purpose is so strong that we already know some of the things we have to change right now. The first one being, I need to stop procrastinating. Because if I am so fueled up, if I'm on fire to become like God every single day until the end of my days, and I have to be careful because I don't know when my days will end, surely I will be motivated to do the dishes now, to do the assignment now, to do everything now, because I might not have later. Procrastinating in our spiritual lives, in our physical lives, in our work lives is like waiting in a lobby when God has been calling our name for the past 2 hours, Lucas. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I just keep sitting there. And then half an hour later, Lucas, I'm ready for you. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, you're ready for me, God. Let's go. But I don't get out of my seat. If I give God my time and my attention and I have that meeting, he keeps calling my name and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go into the office. I have meetings at work. I have meetings at church. Why can I not have a meeting with God? I get changed from human being interactions. Imagine the change that will happen with a godly interaction. So I give God my time and I say, okay, let's do this. I really want to stop procrastinating. I want to stop pushing everything away. Enlighten me, God. Reveal your purpose to me. And I walk away changed. You can't tell me that an interaction with God will leave you unchanged. I don't believe that. I do not believe anyone can have an interaction with the most powerful force, being, spirit, the only God in the universe, and walk away not changed. I don't believe that. I stub my toe going 2 miles per hour when I'm walking and I feel changed. I feel that. God is a lot bigger than stubbing your toe. It is after that meeting with God that now I start thinking a little bit differently. I gave God my time, my attention, no distraction, no procrastination, but I was intentional. And I walk away feeling a little different with the purpose of Christ-likeness to be more like Jesus. I go to work the next day and I remember, oh man, Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, do your work heartily as for the Lord rather than for men. All right, I know I'm working for my boss. I'm working for this company, but even more than that, I'm working for God. Why? Because I'm representing him. Yeah, I represent this physical firm. I'm sorry. I represent this physical firm in the workplace, but even more than that, I represent Jesus Christ as his son, as his daughter, as his child. That's a lot bigger responsibility. Surely I ought to excel more in my work. This essay, I might as well write it right now, and I'm going to put 100% effort. Why? Because God put 100% effort in me. Why would I give anything less? This is when I stop delaying and I start delivering. The more frequently I meet with God, the more frequently my purpose is made clear. We've talked about in previous podcasts that God is never far away from us, and a prayer doesn't bring him a billion million miles closer to us. It just removes the fog that's a couple feet away from us. And then when that fog clears up, we can see that Jesus is right here. He is not far, but rather near. The more frequently I meet with God, the more cleaner I keep the glass in my life so I can see his providence. I can see his glory. I can see his praise. Don't wait until the laziness crawls back in life. No. We can't do that. That's like saying, I'm going to wait until I'm falling apart entirely physically to then start going to the gym. I'm going to wait until I hit rock bottom to start going to church. Come on. We might not even have tomorrow. Why would we throw away today? Why would we throw away right now? Because the now, it might be all we got. So until we run out of time, surely we will use it to glorify God. For what better use of time is there in all of existence than to glorify God with it? Stay well, my friends. Stay blessed. And Godspeed.